Talladega Super Speedway. The NASCAR playoffs take on the high banks. I am now joined by WinTheRace.info's Ryan Stevens, ready to get y'all up to speed. The spring Talladega race ended with gridlock. Hendrick and Priest had that front row locked down. Even the Hendrick teammates behind them never had the momentum to create a third lane, go for the win themselves. But then at Daytona, just a few weeks ago, we had the exact opposite. Ryan Blaney and Cole Custer did get a third lane going. It was madness, 4 wide across the finish line. So one thing did stay the same, however, between both races. A Team Penske car went to victory lane. Ryan, we'll start there. Team Penske needs a big bounce back performance. Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano are well below the cut line. What are you looking for from Blaney and Logano this Sunday?
Well, in the 5 drafting races this season, they're number 2 and number 3 in my true average running position on Win the Race. And they're behind only their Penske teammate, Austin Cindric. So
Wow.
I'm looking for them to remain extremely aggressive and run up front for a good portion of the race. The question, as always with them, and perhaps amplified now needing to be even more aggressive, are the finishes. And the top forward in average finish on these tracks this year is Ryan Preece, 8th best. Then Blaney at 13th best, which I think, is expected. He's good. But then there's Logano, whose average finish is only better than 8 full-time drivers.
Yeah, that's crazy. Joey Logano has led 228 laps at drafting tracks this year, dwarfs all other in the field, but he only has a 29.8 average finish, to your point. He's averaging a 30th place finish. That's not going to cut it Sunday afternoon. I want to dive into that a little bit more because some of what happens is he just gets caught up in wrecks. Sometimes he helps cause the wreck, like he and Stenhouse got together in the Daytona 500. He spun from the lead at Daytona a few weeks back. That Talladega finish in the spring, there's an asterisk there because he actually finished like 5th, but they were disqualified because spoiler was illegally modified. So, I mean, what does your gut say? I think that's the best we can do at this point. What does your gut tell you about Joey Logano this Sunday?
Well, it's hard to back a guy who's got a best finish of 19th in the 7 Gen 7 races at Talladega, but my gut is telling me maybe it's time for some positive regression here. Like you said, they almost did it last time, but we're not playing by the rules. But since joining Penske, he's led laps in 20 out of 25 of the races at Talladega, 6 out of the 7 races in the Gen 7 era. So he's always up front. I think the course has to correct itself someday, and so why not Sunday when his back's against the wall? I think he can do it.
Yeah, I feel good about Joey, at least closing the gap to the cut line. I'm not ready to predict big win. That would be awesome for them, clutch, but hopefully they'll be less than 24 points behind when it's all said and done. Team Penske has won 2 of the 3 traditional super speedway races this year, but I want to transition to Hendrick Motorsports, specifically William Byron, who is the drafting track wins leader in the next gen era. He has 4 wins the past 3.5 years, but he's never won Talladega. He does have a great average finish here the past few years of 7.0. He called that Las Vegas crash devastating. He's 15 points down. How confident are you William Byron can have a big weekend at Talladega?
As confident as we can be when talking about a driver in this type of race. I mean, he has 5 straight top 10s at Talladega. He's the only driver who's finished top 20 in all 7 Gen 7 Talladega races. HMS actually holds 4 of the top 8 positions in my true performance scores on drafting tracks this year. So I'm not really surprised if any of the 4 HMS drivers win on Sunday. I mentioned Penske earlier, 1, 2, and 3 in true average running position on drafting tracks this season. Byron is right behind them in 4th. So he's right there, and we know he's pretty advantageous. He can get the finishes here. He kind of waits, stalks his prey, and wins at the end. We've seen it multiple times. So, yeah, I mean, you got to be running in that top 10 position like he is all the time. And then right at the end, you strike. So I think Byron's definitely live this weekend, but I really like HMS as a team.
Yeah, Hendrick Motorsports won Atlanta with Chase Elliott. Alex Bowman could have won that race as well. They were 2 of the fastest cars left after that big crash. This race is going to come down to teamwork. And we've seen with Toyota, teamwork the past few weeks has been questionable at times. Team Penske in the spring race. Remember, Joey Logano was upset with how Austin Cindric drafted, I guess, at the end of stage 1 or stage 2, gave Bubba Wallace, a Toyota, the stage win. The Chevys always seem to work together pretty well, so that could be an advantage going into this weekend's race. I want to talk about Toyota now. They've only won 2 out of 23 drafting races in the next-gen era, and like I mentioned, their teamwork has been questionable. Where do the Toyotas stack up in your metrics heading into the weekend?
Well, I've mentioned Tyler Reddick actually on this segment with you before, and we've seen him running up front on these drafting tracks. I think he's definitely improved there. So I'll stick with 2311 here specifically. I have Reddick fourth best in my true performance scores on drafting tracks this season. I have Bubba seventh best in true average running position in those races. They're running 42 and 47% of their laps inside the top 10 on drafting tracks this season. They've both been eliminated from the playoffs. They can go out and kind of run their own race. And now that Denny's through to Phoenix, if Briscoe or Bell aren't around for Denny to push toward the end of this race, perhaps he can link up with his boys here and give him a little shove. So I don't know. We talked about that teamwork, but now they kind of all can relax. You know, Bubba and Reddick can go out there and be aggressive, and Denny can as well. So could be something that works out in their favor.
I like the idea that Toyotas have this wild card. The 11 is just kind of like a hired gun. Hey, if you need a drafting push, Denny's there to potentially to get there and help you out. So,
yeah.
No, it's interesting. I went back and watched the end of the Talladega race, and Toyotas were the first to pit in the final cycle. You know, they then shuffled kind of to the back. They have this full head of steam momentum trying to draft their way back up to the front. And I think it was Ross Chastain threw a nasty block that cratered their momentum. So it's little things can do you in at the end of this race when it's all about track position. What about a surprise winner, Ryan? Talladega is all about surprises. I believe last year in this race, it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. who got his lone victory of the season. I like Chris Buescher this weekend. I think he's had solid, consistent speed for weeks now. RFK Racing has looked like maybe the best non-playoff organization in these playoffs. Buescher has 3 top 10s at drafting tracks this week. Do you have someone that you're keeping an extra special eye on this weekend?
Well, I do love Buescher as well. So let's just stick with RFK as a team. We quickly mentioned Priest earlier running up front this year. And if you look at 2025 drafting races as a whole, he's top 10 in my true performance scores. The downside is, like some other Fords we talked about earlier, Priest really struggles to get some finishes in these races. So hopefully he can have some better luck here. We can jump to a proven winner at Talladega, teammate and owner Brad Keselowski. He sits top 10 in my true performance scores on drafting races this year, and I think the man is due. He's never gone more than 4 years without winning at Talladega. Won in 09, 12, 14, 16, 17, and 21. So his last win in 2021 has never gone longer than 4 years, and it's the last race in 2025. So if you're a trends guy, I don't know. That's kind of a fun one. Yeah, total disastrous season too for this team. So it'd be a fun way for him to end it. So I'm definitely rooting for Brad on Sunday.
I like that because also I know it's Atlanta, it's a little different, but I think it was the 17 and the 60 were out there kind of slicing and dicing with the 48 and the 9 all throughout the end of that race. Was fun to watch. Talladega will look a bit different. Will we see gridlock like in years past, or will we see something more exciting like the Daytona Summer Race? That insane final handful of laps. Ryan, thank you so much as always for being on the show. Fans can find more of Ryan's work at wintherace.info, full of stats, analytics, next level data. And Ryan, I know you and Tino and Phil do the draft every Wednesday night on the Win the Race YouTube channel. Great show, a more extended weekend preview than what we do here on Out of the Groove, but it's a great show. I encourage people to check it out. That link is in the description as well. Ryan, thanks again for coming on. Always enjoy doing this segment, and I'll talk to you again soon, man.
Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy the race Sunday.